because of their resources. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, when I look at Schedule 1, and I think that is the fundamental thing in this bill, Honorable Speaker. If you look at Schedule 1, and you see the division, how roads have been classified, Honorable Speaker, I am impressed. There's some good thought have gone into it to ensure that we have roads that go to parts including roads accessing wheat growing areas. And I like that. When I saw that you actually have Class W, roads accessing wheat growing areas, and classified rural roads including mining roads. The only thing, Honorable Speaker, that I would have loved to see, and I want to draw the attention of the Honorable T.J. Kajwang. You will speak your language later on, my friend, with T.J. Why don't you have roads leading to fishing grounds? Because my place and your place, one of the mainstays and economic activities is fishing. And a lot of times, the roads that lead to the areas where people are fishing are not there. Actually, fish get spoiled on the way because they are very perishable. Because there is no road leading to the ocean or to the fishing ground or to the lake, Honorable Speaker. But I do not know what triggered the thought of saying we have roads accessing wheat growing areas, roads accessing coffee, roads accessing settlement, national park, but yet, and sugar growing areas, tea growing areas. Why did we leave fish? Honorable Speaker, why did we leave fish? Yes. So, Honorable Speaker, I think this is something, because if I have money, I can't put it in tea because I don't have tea. I can't put it in wheat because I don't have wheat. But I have an ocean, and you have the lake. Yes, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Kaluma, I don't know if you come from Homa Bay, but you left to put a classification on roads that leading to fishing grounds. I think that's a big thing that you left. And that amendment, Honorable Speaker, need to be put in here, Honorable Speaker, so that it is specific, so that when I go there and I tell the county government you have money, and that money allows you to do a road to the fishing ground, Honorable Speaker, or to the landing site for fish, Honorable Speaker, I can authoritatively say you received 10, 20 million, put that money on that road. And they will not budge out of it because you have instructed them through the law, Honorable Speaker. So that is one thing, Honorable Speaker, that we must put. I'm sure my friend, he has always wanted to baptize me. I want to tell him I'm a baptized Anglican. But he always, every time he sees me, he says, oh, I want to baptize you. And he says he has orange water that he wants to use to baptize me. Honorable Speaker, interestingly, Honorable Speaker, I think this is a midwife law. And I think apart from the several amendments that I have picked, Honorable Speaker, which we must do, Honorable Speaker, so that we can strengthen the law. My Speaker, and I want to call you my Speaker, this is a very important piece of legislation that will usher development into areas that for many years have never had roads. And where you have put a road, you can put a water pipe. Where you have put a road, you can put electricity posts. Where you have put a road, Honorable Speaker, but Honorable Speaker, I also like the fact that there are certain schools which are inaccessible. Schools which are inaccessible. But Honorable Speaker, if we put them here also, we are going to open development in the area. And I want to thank the team, and I say I support it, full support. And I want to say, like one of my friends here who keeps on saying, I want to support it with my all body parts. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Oundo, what's your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, looking at the time that left before the end of the session, and noting the importance of this particular bill to the people of Kenya, especially rural Kenya, I request that the Speaker, in your wisdom, allow that the debate be now adjourned to another time, so that as many people, as many members of Parliament can talk to this matter while addressing their members, their constituents, so that we have enough time. We don't have much time left. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Naomi Wako is seconding.
Honorable Speaker, I second
because we need many members to contribute to this, because this is a very important matter to be debated by all the members, because it concerns the entire nation. And I second.
Honorable members, in accordance to Standing Order number 96, I now propose that the Kenya Roads Amendment number 3 Bill, National Assembly number 34 of 2025, be now adjourned. May I put the question? Honorable members, I now put the question that the Kenya Roads Amendment number 3 Bill, National Assembly number 34 of 2025 be now adjourned. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order. Next order.
Order number 14, motion, consideration of the 5th report on examination of financial statements of selected state corporations.
Okay, Chairperson, Public Investments Committee on Social Services and Administration and Agriculture, Honorable Wangwe, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me on the onset to move that this House adopts the 5th report of the Public Investments Committee on Social Services, Administration and Agriculture on its examination of financial statements of the following state corporations laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 5th August 2025. One, National
Hold on 1 minute. I think we need a sergeant at arms here. Kindly, you may proceed. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. One, the National Social Security Fund for financial year 2020-2021. Two, Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute for financial year 2019-2020 to 2020-2021. Three, National Hospital Insurance Fund for financial year 2018-2019 to 2020-2021. And four, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation financial years 2013-2014 to 2018-2019. Honorable Speaker, allow me to appreciate the commitment of my members, the members of the Public Investments Committee on Social Services, Administration and Agriculture, for taking their time to really concentrate and come up with this very wonderful report. Honorable Speaker, allow me to move the House in two lots, Honorable Speaker. The first lot being the observations as general and their recommendations thereto, and the second lot, Honorable Speaker, being the specific individual parastatal and the observations and recommendations thereon. Honorable Speaker, cross-cutting issues that came up during our interrogation include, Honorable Speaker, one, lack of possession and ownership document on land and buildings. Honorable Speaker, all these four parastatals, Honorable Speaker, showed a sense of lack of possession for either one property, two or many other properties, some to even 32 parcels of land, Honorable Speaker, which would not have the ownership documents and their buildings their own, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, a case in time is the case of Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, whose 32 number parcels of land do not have title deeds or legal documents, Honorable Speaker, including the property onto which, Honorable Speaker, the Broadcasting House is sitting on, LR number 209/5918. Honorable Speaker, there is also the issue, Honorable Speaker, that now the committee felt to recommend, after observing the generality in terms of how much land did not have title deed with respect to Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. Also, Honorable Speaker, National Hospital Insurance Fund, the defunct, does not possess ownership documents for land reference number LR 24968, measuring 10 hectares situated at Karen, valued at 93 1,712,675. That is the valuation as at that time, not as at now, Honorable Speaker. Further, the parcel of land is in dispute and the matter is in court. Honorable Speaker, since 2008, the matter has been in court and it is still dragging in court. What are we saying, Honorable Speaker? That within 3 months upon adoption of this report, let the accounting officers, Honorable Speaker, liaise with the cabinet secretaries for the respective state corporations, Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, and the National Land Commission, and fast-track the process of acquiring title deeds, resolve disputes between the state corporations, and ensure legal actions are taken against private individuals who have illegally acquired public land. Honorable Speaker, whereas these people, these agencies pose like they don't have the land, the documentation, private individuals, Honorable Speaker, encroach on these parcels of land, and they keep on saying they are in court. So you cannot evict them. They have put an injunction, and Honorable Speaker, public land is in a mess to that extent, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we also made a second recommendation that within 6 months upon adoption of this report, the accounting officers through the National Land Commission should prioritize and expedite resolving ownership issues surrounding parcels of land belonging to their state corporations and report its status back to the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, not just to resolve, but also to make a report back to this House so that the House is acquainted and seized of the ownership of the various parcels of land. Honorable Speaker, the second general issue that cuts across these four parastatals is delay in availing documents to the Auditor General. Honorable Speaker, the Auditor General is a constitutional office that requires that any organization and receiving money, public funds, must be audited, Honorable Speaker. And the only body that should audit is the Office of the Auditor General, as provided for under Article 226 of the Constitution, and particularly looking at Section 68(2) of the PFM Act of 2012, read together, Honorable Speaker, with the Public Audit Act. Honorable Speaker, during the audit, it becomes very difficult that the Office of the Auditor General, Honorable Speaker, upon entry and assessing all the audit papers, plus the provision of the necessary exit report. Remember, Honorable Speaker, an audit is not just an event of one day. It's a whole process. It takes time, entry into the organization, preparation of the document, writing of the final document, Honorable Speaker, a draft, and then finally preparing the final statement. It's normally a process, but it's still this process, whereas there are various notes back to the agency, they don't respond. But when they hear, Honorable Speaker, that they are coming before Public Investments Committee, all accounting officers with their volumes and volumes of their papers appear before our committees. Yet, Honorable Speaker, they don't want to give auditors this document at that time. What do we recommend, Honorable Speaker? That the accounting officers should always comply with the provisions of Section 68(2) of the PFM Act 2012 and submit the required information for audit within the stipulated timelines. Honorable Speaker, remember the case of timelines, which has really been ruled by now, that we must adhere to timelines when it comes to reporting, and similarly, Honorable Speaker, preparation and finalizing of the audited accounts has also the timelines there too. Honorable Speaker, we also made a recommendation that the accounting officer who fails to provide required information for audit pursuant to Section 62(1) of the Public Audit Act, Cap 412B, should be prosecuted for the offense pursuant to Section 62, Part 2 of the Public Audit Act, Cap 412B. Honorable Speaker, the ruling on what to do is in that section. It has already been predetermined, and therefore, Honorable Speaker, the parties who don't comply should just be enforced using that act, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there is also the other issue that cuts across matters pending in court. Honorable Speaker, we observed that quite a number of litigations concerning ownership of various properties, debts or debtors, creditors are in court. And the state corporation and other legal matters have been pending before the courts of law for long, despite resolutions of the House through previous PICs. Honorable Speaker, today we are prosecuting our fifth report There are decisions the House will make, and we have made recommendations on what to do. But it's still, Honorable Speaker, this matter, when the Committee on Implementation pushes it to court through the various agencies, EACC and the DCI, the matter is pending in court for as many years as possible. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, Kenyans have become very clever that when the matter is before court, no any other person can interfere. And Honorable Speaker, it is pending in court forever. For example, the issues I raised with NHIF, the land in Karen, it has been there. And each year, Honorable Speaker, the case metamorphosizes into another case, from one case to another case, Honorable Speaker. The question is, when are we going to conclude this? This is a matter we cannot force the judiciary to make a ruling. But Honorable Speaker, the people, the clever Kenyans who take this matter before court, forces the court officials to put it in such a way that it has to be listened to all through. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, this is a very tricky issue that we all need to come up as Kenyans and say, how long should these court cases take? So that, Honorable Speaker, Kenyans want to see public land and public utility in the hands of the public. Not, Honorable Speaker, public utility is in the hands of the private persons. That makes it very tricky. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, we recommend as follows, that within 3 months upon adoption of this report, the Inspector General, Inspectorate of State Corporations, should carry out a review of all entities with the pending court cases, prepare a comprehensive status report, and submit to the National Assembly with a copy to the Attorney General, who will initiate the process for fast-tracking the conclusion of the cases within reasonable time. Honorable Speaker, let the Attorney General, being the person who can link up between the executive and the judiciary, handle this matter so that he can expedite and inform maybe what the decision of the judiciary, especially from the President of the Judicial Service Commission. The accounting officers, Honorable Speaker, should strive to embrace alternative dispute resolution mechanisms in the resolution of disputes before going to court. Honorable Speaker, you find a small issue, not really small per se, because no matter is small before court, but an issue that would have been resolved outside court ends up in court. It takes 10 years to be resolved. Yet, Honorable Speaker, the matter could have been put to a certain administrative committee within the government. A state agency suing another state agency, Honorable Speaker. The matter is pending before court. Nothing is moving. No Kenyan is enjoying the possession of a state property. Honorable Speaker, cross-cutting issue that we also observed is delayed accountability of interest. Honorable Speaker, most of the civil servants, or rather employees of this parastatus, are fond of, Honorable Speaker, making travels. And when they make travels, Honorable Speaker, which is within their budgets, not outside their budgets, but they don't surrender their impress, Honorable Speaker, on time. So what happens, Honorable Speaker, the impress keep on being outstanding year in, year out. And Honorable Speaker, another clever way that we noted within this review, especially from the Kenya Fishing Industries Limited, where they gave scholarships to about 4 officers, Honorable Speaker, who went to overseas to study. When they come back, Honorable Speaker, after 2 years or 3 years for this case, they were so clever to have earned a job elsewhere while they were on overseas study. So that, Honorable Speaker, by the time they come back, they don't report to the organization. Instead, they move around, get a job elsewhere, and now the accounting officer has to follow up on how to collect that impress, Honorable Speaker. A situation which, Honorable Speaker, we feel all organizations sending out their officers must bond them. And if they are bonded, Honorable Speaker, they have to live within the terms of the bond so that they impress what is really within the law. What we recommend, Honorable Speaker, that the accounting officers to ensure that impress advance to officers is surrendered within the stipulated period of 7 days. Honorable Speaker, the law talks about 7 days after return to the workstation in accordance with Section 93 of the Public Finance Management National Government Regulations 2015. The second recommendation, Honorable Speaker, we felt was that within 6 months of adoption of this report, the accounting officers who will have failed to take necessary steps to ensure that all outstanding impress within their jurisdictions are recovered from the due date should be surcharged the full amount due. Honorable Speaker, the accounting officers are the persons that give these impress. Again, they are the ones, Honorable Speaker, that pay any other dues to the same officers. So if they are not put to pressure to recover this money, Honorable Speaker, they end up just admitting laissez-faire attitude on collection of this money. The other general issue, Honorable Speaker, we found out was the underfunding, low budgetary disbursements. Honorable Speaker, this house is a budget-making house. But Honorable Speaker, we don't just make budget on that one day. Budget making, Honorable Speaker, is a process. It begins with the sector working groups, Honorable Speaker, who oversee the sector requirements. Before, Honorable Speaker, they submit a cabinet memo, the cabinet approves, before that budget moves into this house. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, if the user has requested for 200 shillings, why should you give that user 50 shillings? Honorable Speaker, we felt as a committee that let the National Treasury review the overall budget requirement of the various SAGAs and ministries so that they can budget, allow them resources which are meaningfully within what they are requiring. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, what do we recommend? That the committee recommends that the Cabinet Secretary National Treasury endeavors to allocate and disperse, not just allocate, Honorable Speaker, but also disburse funds as appropriated to the state corporations funded by the national government. The Cabinet Secretary National Treasury should ensure at all times that the budgets are realistic, achievable, and always adhere to annual work plans, procurement plans, and revenue collection capabilities of the respective corporations in compliance with Regulation 44.2 of the PFM National Government Regulations 2015. Honorable Speaker, the most challenge also has been that, yes, this House will appropriate the money. How about disbursement, Honorable Speaker? Year in, year out, month in, month out, no money will move from National Treasury to various SAGAs. We are also requesting that let the National Treasury adhere to their obligation. Honorable Speaker, allow me to move the House to individual specific agencies as listed in this report. Beginning with the National Social Security Fund, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what we observed as a matter of concern that I want to highlight, among others, this is just a synopsis, Honorable Speaker, most of the other issues are in the main report, is the issue of rental debtors, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in this financial year 2020-2021, NSSF, Honorable Speaker, witnessed an increase in debtors of 230,962,739. And the issue of debtors, Honorable Speaker, in overall totaling of 541,755,371, which have been outstanding for more than 2 years. And Honorable Speaker, this being 2020-2021, the main issue that the NSSF attributed this shift increase was due to COVID-19 pandemic, which hit the whole world. Honorable Speaker, the explanation for the cause of the delay in covering is untenable since the 2 years the debts have been outstanding was beyond the issue of COVID-19. Honorable Speaker, most of the agencies, when they appear before us, and you are reviewing the year 2020-2021, the first thing they say is this was a COVID-19 year. But how about, Honorable Speaker, when you go 1 year behind and 1 year forward, you find that the 2-year elasticity check proves that this was not the point. There is much more than the issue of COVID-19. What we recommend, Honorable Speaker, that within 3 months upon adoption of the report, let the Auditor General review composition and position of the rent debtors and report the subsequent audits, report in the subsequent audit cycle of 2023-2024 in accordance with Article 2294 of the Constitution. So that, Honorable Speaker, we follow up. Let the auditor pick it, and again in the year 2023-2024, report in the final audit as we go forward. Honorable Speaker, the other issue that is of interest that I need to highlight to this House about NSSF the year 2020-2021 is the issue of budgetary control and performance. Honorable Speaker, the fund indicated that they tried to fill the vacant position via advertisements, which was key because, Honorable Speaker, they felt that they were not able to meet their budgetary performance targets because of lack of staff. So, Honorable Speaker, they tried to fill this vacancy via a Daily Nation of 2015, but however, Honorable Speaker, the under-absorption of the year ending 30th June 2021 could not be affected by the transactions of 2015. Honorable Speaker, the explanation they did say was that since the year 2015, they had been attempting to fill staff, but to date, they did not have enough staff who could support the checks and balances and the performance of the organization. And they also said, Honorable Speaker, that the delayed recruitment of senior managers and delayed implementation of the Funds Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, associated with the court cases may imply that the management had been breaching the legal provisions leading to court cases that even led to wastage of funds, money in form of legal costs. Honorable Speaker, without casting aspersion to the legal professionals, a lawyer, Honorable Speaker, whether he wins the case or not, you'll have to pay him. Whether the matter is successful in court or not, you have to pay. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, upon engaging a legal mind, you know that it's a cost. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, these costs were injurious to the financial performance of the NSSF. What do we recommend, Honorable Speaker? That the accounting officer to ensure all times that the budgets are realistic, achievable, and always adhere to annual work plans, procurement plans, and revenue collection schedules. 2, the committee, Honorable Speaker, reprimanded the then accounting officer for delay in having the human resource instruments approved on time. Honorable Speaker, whereas they were struggling with engaging the staff, the human resource instruments were not yet approved to really warrant that the NSSF could hire staff at that time. A situation, Honorable Speaker, I want to applaud the current management of NSSF. Now they have the instruments in place. We can see in the recent past there have been engagements of some staff, and we look forward to seeing a new face NSSF, not NSSF of 2020-2021. Honorable Speaker, allow me to move the House to the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, KEMFRI, for financial year 2019-2020 and 2021. And Honorable Speaker, pick a few things that were observed by the committee. There was one issue, Honorable Speaker, that there was a loss of Deep Sea Observatory rover. Honorable Speaker, the loss of this rover, whose value then was 13,242,599, negatively affected the value of total assets of the institute. There was no documentary evidence that the rover was insured and that a claim had been launched. Honorable Speaker, this implied that the management had breached Section 72(1) of the PFM Act Cap 4 and 2A and Section 1601 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act Cap 4 and 2C. Honorable Speaker, these acts require that the item must have been insured, Honorable Speaker. The institution should have owned the property. But Honorable Speaker, as at that time, they lost the property and they cannot claim the property, Honorable Speaker. In the prevailing circumstances that the recovery of the assets or compensation of the same is remote, the management ought to have initiated the process of seeking write-off of the assets value 13,242,599 from the Institute Books of Accounts. Honorable Speaker, whereas the management is aware that this item is lost, they have kept the figures in the books. They have not even sought the write-off because there is no way they are going to recover this asset, which dropped in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean, Honorable Speaker, and to date, it has not been found. What do we recommend, Honorable Speaker? That within 3 months upon adoption of this report, the accounting officer, KEMFRI, Institute should ensure that the write-off process is undertaken in line with the provisions of Section 69 of the PFM Act, Cap 4 and 2A. Number 2, the committee reprimands the then accounting officer for failing to ensure the institute assets and breach of Section 72(1) of the PFM Act, Cap 4 and 2A, and Section 1601 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Honorable Speaker, the other issue that we observed in the books of Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute was the cash and cash equivalent, where, Honorable Speaker, the Institute lost 165,112 reportedly held at the Baringo station through theft or pilferage by its staff, could not be prosecuted and sustained in the court, and hence the alleged culprit acquitted. Honorable Speaker, despite the fact that the money was just lost in the cash office, this is cash money, Honorable Speaker, how could it be that the culprit cannot be prosecuted? Nobody can give evidence that the money was lost. There was no breakage. The facts in the court, Honorable Speaker, could not allow the judge to give a verdict of somebody who has stolen the money. So, Honorable Speaker, what does it mean? There is definitely no administrative measures in the office that can support handling of corporation resources and protecting corporation resources. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, the management was in breach of Regulation 165 of the PFM National Government Regulation 2000 on risk management, fraud prevention, and internal controls. Honorable Speaker, those three elements, they demonstrated lack of management of risk, fraud prevention, and internal controls, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, what do we recommend? That the committee reprimands the then accounting officer for breach of Regulation 165 of the PFM National Government Regulations 2015. The buck stops with the CEO, Honorable Speaker, where the employee or any other employee is not doing the right thing and the government is losing resources, the buck stops with you. Point number 3, Honorable Speaker, was the DORIA operationalization. Honorable Speaker, the then accounting officer irregularly transferred 37,886,770 to the State Department for Fisheries, which was in breach of Section 54(1) of the Public Finance Management Regulation 2015, which prohibits payment made out of funds earmarked for specific activities for purposes other than those activities. Honorable Speaker, when we are budgeting, we budget for specific activities. But the accounting officer, Honorable Speaker, decided on his own volition to route 37,886,770 back to the ministry for a project called DORIA operationalization. Honorable Speaker, to date, this money has never been refunded back to Kenya Marine Fisheries Research Institute. For what reason? He says the corporation CEO said that it was instruction from the principal secretary then, whose evidence was not adduced, Honorable Speaker. What does the committee recommend? The committee, Honorable Speaker, reprimands the then accounting officer for breach of Section 54(1) of the Public Finance Management National Government Regulations 2015. Honorable Speaker, the third agency we want to present the report is National Hospital Insurance Fund, especially financial years 2018-2019 and 2020-2021. Honorable Speaker, the organization reported in this financial year a deficit of 1,156,934,012. Honorable Speaker, this is a huge figure, resulting in reduction in retained earnings to 18,237,948,239. That's a huge, a very material representation, Honorable Speaker, of a deficit. Further, Honorable Speaker, as at 30th June 2021, the fund reported a revenue shortfall amounting to 22 million 790 22,790,080, wherein the actual receipts were 22 trillion, Honorable Speaker. 790 million, 80,000, wherein the actual receipts were 57 trillion, 918,358,000, against budgeted receipts, Honorable Speaker, of 80 billion, it's not a trillion, it's billion, 80 billion, 709,438,000, whereas the actual expenditure for the year amounted to 75 billion, 198,084,000, pointing to a dismal performance in the year, and therefore the strategies envisaged, Honorable Speaker, to improve performance did not work, or there were undisclosed revenue leakages. Honorable Speaker, what do we recommend? That within 3 months upon adoption of this report, the accounting officer to submit to the Auditor General for audit comprehensive and well-documented handing over report detailing all the assets, including investments and properties in dispute and liabilities as prepared by the outgoing NHIF management to the incoming Social Health Authority management. The Auditor General, Honorable Speaker, shall audit and submit the report to the committee. Honorable Speaker, this is the year of transition, and so those figures, Honorable Speaker, have to be consistently taken into account and shall form both the closing balance and the opening balances for SHA. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, during the review, when we will be reviewing the audits of SHA, we will be cognizant that these figures must be represented accordingly. Honorable Speaker, under plant and property, there was the issue we noted, Honorable Speaker, of construction of multi-story car park. Honorable Speaker, this is a story that has been around for some time. The project, Honorable Speaker, we visited the project on 20th February 2024, and the committee observed, although the accounting officer indicated that some organizations were currently occupying the building, including Ministry of Environment, Kenya Fishery Services, NACADA, Cabinet Affairs Office, National Land Commission, Kenya Copyrights Board, Water Services Regulatory Board, Cabinet Secretariat, Kenya Roads Board, Kenya Water Towers Agency, and other small private firms, as well as NHIF Nairobi branch office. Only judiciary had stored its documents in one of the floors, and other tenants had vacated the premises. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, when you visit the building, Honorable Speaker, you see a host, what I would call a ghost property, whose occupation does not warrant how much that was invested. This matter, Honorable Speaker, had been dealt in the previous PIC reports, the 16th, 19th, and 21st report, wherein the committee observed unprofessional manner in which the project was executed. So, Honorable Speaker, this comment is not just for me, for my earlier colleagues observed in the 16th, 19th, and 21st as being unprofessional manner in which the project was executed. The previous PIC's, Honorable Speaker, recommended that the EACC investigate the procurement process of the project and comes up with appropriate recommendations regarding any breach of the law. But, Honorable Speaker, no much has moved, no much has been reflected through the EACC, and therefore we also further made the following recommendations: that within 3 months upon adoption of the report, we also insisted that EACC should fast track the investigations on how the project was initiated, feasibility done, construction works procured, how the contract price was varied. Honorable Speaker, throughout my life, I had not seen a project with a variation of 337%. This is the first time I came across a project with a variation of 337% over and above the original contract sum, Honorable Speaker, of 909,709,305 in breach of the law, and eventually how the vehicular lift was introduced midway into the project. Honorable Speaker, this is a project that is a case study of corruption. This is a project that anyone who would want to undertake corruption should have a case study of this project so that he can do it better rather than doing it in an open, blatant way. What happened, Honorable Speaker? There were lifts in the name of which could lift vehicles to any floor. They were begun, they never took off. The building began upside down. And, Honorable Speaker, it is better said through a professional investigator by EACC to come and tell Kenyans what happened, rather than a naked eye through the books. You cannot really understand what the matter is. Because when you visit the project and see how much the project moved and see the variation of 337%, Mr. Speaker, it's a story that no Kenyan can understand. Honorable Speaker, Please give the speaker.
What are you saying the nation was the contract price for the project, and what were the contractors demanding as their payment with the variations?
Honorable Speaker, the contract upon signing reads the figure 909,709,305. As at the time of conclusion, Honorable Speaker, this project has costed 3.9 billion, transforming into thereabout 333%.
And how much has been paid?
The entire amount so far is paid.
That is that thing next to
NHIF.
which was to be a parking.
Which was to be a parking, and the entire money is with Kenyans. And that's why it's important, Honorable Speaker, that EACC makes a follow-up to really understand and tell Kenyans how do they lose their money.
Have you recommended prosecution?
Yes.
Yeah,
My recommendation, I want to read it.
Then you may proceed.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation as my final agency, where we did observe that the issue on ongoing concern was deliberated in its third PIC report, which was my own report, Honorable Speaker, and upholds the observations and recommendations therein. Honorable Speaker, in this report, we observed that the corporation's corporate governance is considerably weak, thereby exposing the corporation to potential losses, in addition, reputation and operational risks. Honorable Speaker, the corporation is technically insolvent, and its existence as a going concern is dependent upon the support from the government and its creditors. Honorable Speaker, I'm looking at the general view of the financial years 2013-2014 to 2018-2019. Therefore, that is a cross-cutting issue of those various years of KBC. Honorable Speaker, the third issue I look at is the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation took a loan from the Overseas Economic Cooperation Fund, OECF, Japan, in 1989. The National Treasury has over the years serviced on behalf of the corporation. Honorable Speaker, this is an issue which the national government needs to make a decision, and especially the head of National Treasury should look at. The ministry has been paying the loan. It has finished paying the loan to overseas lender. But Honorable Speaker, this loan is in the books of KBC. What does it mean? That when KBC is making its financial statement reporting, it reports with that huge borrowing. Why should the National Treasury pay the liability out, but leave the liability in the books of KBC? It doesn't make a commercial sense. Instead, it makes all MDs to operate at a deficit, and no day KBC will appear attractive, making it easy for any MD to mess up the accounts of KBC. Honorable Speaker, this loan was received in the form of equipments which were rendered obsolete because of the liberalization of the electronic industry in the 1990s and the migration to FM radio stations. Honorable Speaker, after all, the loan was given in kind, meaning we received the equipments, but over time, Honorable Speaker, the equipments are obsolete. They cannot form part of the strategic investment of the enterprise now. What do we recommend, Honorable Speaker? We recommended that within 3 months upon adoption of this report, EACC to investigate whether there are any financial leakages, financial impropriety, should any person or officer be found culpable, the DPP to initiate legal action with a view to holding the responsibility persons accountable for the financial leakages and financial impropriety. Second recommendation, Honorable Speaker, is that the committee recommends that KBC diversifies its revenue base to reduce over-reliance on government support. Honorable Speaker, in the broadcasting space, how I wish Honorable Kiari would be here. It's not only KBC. We have very many stations. Royal Media is a big house. They make profits. Their balance sheet is healthy. we have very many young broadcasting houses. Yes, KBC is a government broadcasting house, but it is always reporting losses. Why is it that they cannot do something better? Yes, they can. So that's why we are saying they must now reason, think outside the box, and come up with something better. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of land and building, the corporation does not possess ownership document for land and building valued at 6,616,759,000. All that land, Honorable Speaker, they have. They do not possess, most of it, they don't possess corporation documents. Honorable Speaker, corporation parcel land reference number 75-893/111/66A, situated at Voi Township, measuring 3.7 acres, could not be located by the valuer at the time of valuation of assets in November 2014. Honorable Speaker, it was very tricky that the corporation has invited a valuer. He's supposed to go on site to value, and he cannot spot trace the land. What does that mean, Honorable Speaker? The land is in paper, but there is no physical land. The corporation's parcel of land reference number 75893/111/64A. The other one was 66A. This is 64A, measuring 0.7413 acres, located at Voi Township and valued at 1,600,000, had been taken over by the Ministry of Mining. Honorable Speaker, the title is in possession of by KBC, but the Ministry of Mining is in possession of the land. Those are transcrossing issues. The corporation parcel land reference number LR 11773, Ngong TX station, located at Kajiado County, differed in size, as the letter of allotment indicates that the land is at 3.41